Welcome to the KEbnY Video Show, the place and platform for indie creators. I'm your host, Kenny Moore. We're talking life coaching in this episode. Before we start the show, would you do two things for me? First, subscribe to my YouTube channel at Coach_ANYKENY, so you can check out other episodes of the show. Second, follow me on social media at Coach_ANYKENY on Instagram, TikTok, and X. And on my music pages at KEbnY Collective on Instagram and Any Key Music on Facebook, which is spelled capital ANY, capital KE, lowercase b, lowercase n, and capital Y. All right, my guest is backstage and ready to go, so let's start the show. Before my guest joins me, let's check out a clip of what he does. Here's Mackens Audena on the KEbnY Video Show.
One of the deepest misunderstandings that boys carry into adulthood is the idea that power and domination are the same thing. They aren't. But the reason boys confuse them makes perfect sense once you look closely at how it develops. Everyone, men and women, want to feel worthy. Worthiness is the fuel behind nearly every human action. Because boys grow up in an environment where strength is visible and rough play is normal, they learn early that a person who can impose his will is the one who wins. Dominance becomes one of the most obvious, tangible signals of worthiness. If you can push harder, jump higher, hit faster, or pin someone to the ground, the world seems to tell you that you matter more. Boys don't consciously decide that domination equals value. It simply becomes an easy to identify and enduring proof of it that they experience. Girls, who cannot rely on physical force to the same degree, don't grow up with domination as their currency. Their power takes shape through negotiation, persuasion, coalition building.
Now joining me is Mackens Audena. He's an attorney and business consultant in the Washington, D.C. area. He works with founders and small business owners to help them build, sustain, and grow their business. He's created a platform called 11 kilometers per second. You just saw a clip of some of the work he does. Now let's bring him on to talk about it. Mackens, welcome to the show. Thanks for being on. How you doing?
Coach Kenny, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. I am doing well. How about you?
I'm doing well. Like I said backstage, I appreciate you reaching out to me. I think this is a fascinating concept, so I'm looking forward to getting a little deeper into it.
And yes, I appreciate the opportunity to reach out to your audience and to all who may hear this. I think it's a necessary and needed conversation.
For sure. All right, so let's get to it. I always ask people the first time they're on with me, I ask them this question, and here it is. Tell me your earliest memory or the moment you fell in love with coaching.
That is an interesting question. I feel like there, to some degree, I have always been doing coaching, but if I have to say, because a lot of, as a business consultant, one of the things that I tell folks is that if you can pick yourself as your ideal client, then you have a great client. And what that means is that you know yourself. There's a void in the market that you feel like needs to be satisfied for yourself. And so you know what that void is, you know what your needs are, you know what your psychographic is. And so you can find folks, an audience that is very similar to yourself. And that's what I mean by yourself being your ideal client. And you can cater to that person. And so what I have always done as an analytical person, I went to school and studied psychology. I've always analyzed myself and I've always been analytical. And so I've always wanted to know what was at the root of our behaviors and our thinking. And so to a certain degree, I'd always been thinking about counseling in that sense. I think I want to say just quickly, when I had my son, ultimately, your son kind of serves as a mirror to yourself. And then I started to try to impart what I knew. I would say that's when that love of, counseling and coaching came about.
Okay. Yeah, for me, so I was kind of born into it. I come from a basketball family, so everybody does something with the game. My uncle is a Division I head coach for men's basketball. My brother coached. I'm sorry, he's a referee. He refereed high school, college, and pro up to the G League. So shout out to my uncle Rod Strickland. Shout out to my brother Phil Moore. My uncles Byron and Steve Strickland, they referee on the high school level. I got cousins Terrell and Ty who played for their dad at Long Island University. So it's literally it's the family business. So I was kind of born. I was kind of born into it. And 1 year I was got a chance to coach at our family's basketball camp, and I lost in the championship. Mac, I lost in the championship, and I cried. I was so upset that I went up in the stands and I cried, and that's what I knew I was in love with coaching.
Nice.
Yeah.
not the experience of losing, but the the idea of being so passionate and in love with something that
yes.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that sparked the flame, and here it is now. I've been coaching high school basketball for about to start my 10th year. So, but enough about me. Thank you, I appreciate it. Let's talk about you. How did you get into life coaching?
So, prior to starting 11 kilometers per second, I have been doing a number of different types of coaching. So I'm an attorney. And so part of what I do when I deal with my clients involves coaching, right? There is a psychological element to everything that we do. It's about setting expectations. It's about walking them through whatever the process is. I also do business consulting. Myself and my wife, we have a business consulting firm called MBA Growth Partners. And through that, we help minority organizations from inception to the time of exit. So that's, essentially, getting your corporate structure together to process improvement. And then we've also been in the sales. And part of what we also do with respect to that is business coaching. And so we started doing business coaching in 2019. And then as part of that, I saw that there's a lot of, when you're dealing with entrepreneurship, there's a lot of psychological issues that you face having to climb up. And so there was a big element of having to coach on a personal level as well. And so I took this for multiple reasons. One, because I've myself, but also because I was seeing a pattern where a lot of the folks that we were coaching were Black women, which is great. Our Black always held us down and have always continued to figure out a way. But I also saw both my issues, what I struggled with, and the fact that I wasn't seeing a lot of Black men that, there was something there that needed to be addressed. And, I started 11 kilometers per second to do just that.
Gotcha. So who are some of your influences in the field?
So coaching specifically, I don't know that I would say that I have anyone that are my experiences in coaching. I mean, if I had to pick, there are folks that I follow online that are not necessarily coaching, but they have a lot of information that I use.
Okay.
One in particular is, I'm going to draw a blank on the names here. One is Stephen Bartlett. He does Diary of a CEO. I follow him a lot. And then the other one is Chris. His podcast is known as Modern Wisdom, and he focuses a lot on, the issues having to do with men and dating.
Gotcha.
And yeah, those are the two that I would say that I also like. He's an old school dude at the, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Old school dude, really well known. Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is definitely another person that I, followed for a long time. But much of what I've done is either because it's stuff that I have myself used on myself or my coaching clients, and it is also borrowed from, research and psychology.
Sure. That totally makes sense. So we're going to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we'll get into Mackens' pressure training method. So stay tuned. We'll be back in a minute.
This is me at 19 years old making mediocre beats. I was working a job and I was making $0 off of my music. This is me now making industry quality beats and making what I made in a year back then in 1 month. If you're a music producer who wants to make better music that people will love and sell your beats, loops, and sound kits online independently, I'm about to show you how I 3 times my 9-to-5 income and improve the quality of my music, all while having nothing but a laptop and a phone. My name is Eben. I'm a platinum music producer who's made a full-time career out of selling my music online, and that's allowed me to work with artists like Lil Durk, Rod Wave, Lil TJ, and many other Billboard charting artists. Some huge problems that you and other struggling producers are having is that your beats just aren't industry level. And that's why artists and producers just aren't using your beats and loops. And then, even if you improve the quality of your beats and loops, artists and producers still won't respond to you because your social medias just aren't attractive. Another huge problem that producers have is making beats and nothing ever happens with them and they just die on your hard drive. Your career will stay stagnant this way because you have no plan. And a lot of producers are scared to post themselves and their craft. And you'll never attract the audience this way because no one will ever know who you are. One way of doing this is making a bunch of beats in a bunch of different subgenres, aiming to connect with any random artists or producers with more followers than you, exporting low quality beats and just hoping for the best, aimlessly posting beats on BeatStars and just praying that someone buys them. And the rest of the beats we make just sit and die on our hard drive and nothing ever happens with it. My method is making beats and loops in a specific subgenre and then maximizing that lane. Then we perfect our beats and loops in that subgenre and then build our brand around that niche. We maximize our social medias with professional appeal, and that way we're attracting artists and producers that actually want to work with us.
All right, make sure you follow Nelly's Joyful Treats on Instagram and Facebook and place your orders so you can get that sweet taste of soul. And producers, make sure to use our code AKVS for 25% off upon enrolling in 111 Academy. All right, we are back with Mackens, and we are talking pressure training. Mackens, what in the world is pressure training and how do you coach it?
All right. So pressure training, let me give you, before I jump into what it is how I got here. So
Okay.
One of the things that I recognize is that part of what happens with everyone, but particularly with men, is that we are not trained for internal stability. And what that means is that, something may happen that may cause us to have an internal disruption, particularly when we feel like we're being evaluated or when we feel like we're being judged. Men are taught, as I mentioned in the clip that you showed, that domination is the way to power, when in fact it is not. And so the issue is that no one wants to be dominated, right? And no one wants to get to the point where they're seen as failures because our job ultimately is to succeed, to lead.
Sure.
And so what happens is men do not want to get into positions where they may risk the failure. And so that builds what we say is internal instability. And so the idea here is to train for moments when you feel that sort of pressure, the pressure of evaluation, the pressure from not getting approval, the pressure of potential failure. Ultimately, that causes the internal stability, and then training for that. And so, the difference for a lot of folks, there's a lot of people who, they need therapy in order to get some insights. There's some things that they don't know that's happening within their lives, maybe some things that they're repressing. That is good. However, it doesn't change habits that are in depth and entrenched. And so what my training does is ultimately puts you in a simulation. It puts you into that scenario where you can then train for when you feel that sort of internal pressure, that internal stability arising, and it teaches you how to respond to it in a way that you would if you knew how to manage this because you've seen it over and over again. And that's precisely what we do.
Okay, that totally makes sense. And it actually leads into my next question. So what would you say are the top 5 biggest pressures that Black men deal with?
I want to say there are some that are particular to Black men, and I'll start with that, but I don't know if it's the top one, so it's not in order.
No order, just what you say your 5 would be.
Okay. So I would say the one that's particular to Black men, I feel like, is the box that we are put in. Biggie Smalls said one time in one of his raps, it's like either you're selling crack rock or you got a wicked jump
Wicked
shot.
jump shot. That's right.
You know what I mean? And so, like, you know, if anywhere in social media a Black man tries to behave in any sort of way, they're going to be considered sassy, you know. Well, like you can't, you know what I mean?
Zesty.
So they're zesty. You can't argue with a woman. You can't have feelings, because obviously that means you're too emotional. Only women can be emotional. It's like emotions are part of being human. So, like I say, the box that Black men have been put in is so restricting that we can't be our full selves. And not being able to be your full self means that you can't be your best self. And so that's major for us, that I think differentiates us from what other men feel. And I think all people feel the pressure from lack of approval. So that's one of the modules that we teach, right? The lack of approval, being able to tolerate that lack of approval. There's also what I see as a difference in status or perceived status, and how we may retreat as opposed to continuing to behave in a productive manner. There's a couple of other modules that I focus on. Decision finality is one of them as well, like, constantly ruminating about a decision, whether or not others will be accepting of it, because God forbid it actually doesn't go right.
No, it's real.
And so all of these things causes you to do what is called a reflexive move. It's whatever it is that you've learned that helps you to manage some things. And a lot of the times it seems to work, but you don't also understand the cost that it actually exacts on either you or your potential to actually, operate at your ideal level. And so these are the things that we try to expose and try to get you to act as you would ultimately after having seen these multiple times.
Okay. So I heard you mention something about modules. How many modules do you have?
So it's a 12-week program, 90 days total. The first 4 modules are about internal recognizing stability. The second one is about how you signal back out after you recognize the instability that's occurring in you. And then the third phase, 4 weeks each. The fourth phase is when we are introducing multiple pressures at the same time in order for you to be able to trust that you can handle yourself. That is the stage at which you no longer have to feel like you wear a mask. If you've ever felt like you're wearing a mask and you're in a social situation, it is likely because you are not sure how you are going to handle how you're coming across. And if somebody says something that you don't know how to deal with, you don't know how you're going to handle that, and you don't trust yourself enough to handle that. So you withhold. Sure. And you're not being your full self. When you get to this stage after the 90 days, it's for you to feel your most powerful self, your ability to handle any kind of pressure that shows up.
Gotcha. I got it. So you have this thing called the Internal Stability Index Assessment. Talk about how you came up with that.
Yeah, so the Internal Stability Index, I came up with it because of how I've seen people respond to various different types of pressure. So the idea is to try to see what your reflexive response would be. So a lot of times, for example, we may be asked to a question and we start over explaining. Yeah. And the reason, like, we're preempting something because we already have it in our minds that's, what we have is not acceptable. And so the idea here is to try to see what your preferred response to a pressure is. Mm-hmm. And then that gives us insight as to how it is that we can address how you're going to show up under pressure as well.
Okay. And then is it like a series of questions, and then you make the like a score based off of the answers to those questions?
That's correct. So it is a self-assessment. It has the various different areas that we test upon, and then you answer the questions based on how you would respond to a specific scenario question. And based on your answers, we tally it up, and then we give you what your preferred method of responding would be.
Gotcha. So as we get ready to wrap up, tell me what's next for you, and then tell my audience how they can connect to you on social media, and if they want to to be a part of 11 kilometers per second, how would they do that?
Absolutely. So by my name, I did this precisely so that you can see how the spelling is. By the way, 11 kilometers per second is called the escape velocity. It is the speed at which something must move to escape Earth's gravity. So it's a metaphor for how you must move to escape the forces that hold you back and doesn't allow you to soar into the heavens. And so that's how I came up with the name. That's the website as well, .com. You'll get to the website where you will find the index and also an ability to schedule a call with me or a discovery call. 11 kilometers per second is my handle also for Instagram. You can find me there as well, Mackens Audena. If you look me up, you'll find me on Facebook as well.
Okay, so that's the website as well, 11km/second.com.
Correct. Yeah.
All right. So Mackens, man, I really appreciate a few minutes of your time. I think you're doing some really innovative work, and I'm glad I was able to connect. And thanks for being on Any Key Video Show.
Kenny, I appreciate the opportunity once again to reach out to some of your audience. I hope that, someone sees themselves in the pressures that we all face and is looking for a solution. And if they do, please do reach out to me on those channels that I mentioned. And, I hope this.
Absolutely. All the best. And again, thanks for being on Any Key Video Show.
All right. Have a good day.
You too. All right. That's going to be it for this episode of the Any Key Video Show. I want to thank Mackens Audena again for joining me. If you have any questions, comments, or like your brands and services to be advertised and promoted on the show, or if you want your video to be featured on the show, send an email to KANMmusicpub@gmail.com. Again, it's KANMmusicpub@gmail.com. You can become a patron on my Patreon page. Just go to patreon.com/ANYKENY to get exclusive access to new content and free show merchandise. Or you can order your merchandise at the online store, which is KANMcollective.threadless.com. Again, it's KANMcollective.threadless.com. Shout out to all my patrons and people who have ordered merchandise. I really appreciate your support. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at Coach_ANYKENY and follow me on social media at Coach_ANYKENY on Instagram, TikTok, and X, and on my Instagram music page at KANM Collective, and my Facebook music page, Any Key Music, which is spelled capital ANY, capital KE, lowercase b, lowercase n, and capital Y. So until next time, remember, be positive on purpose.